You should ask yourself, then whatever the Prophet will say after this has to do with Day of Judgment, not with the angels, not with the books or the previous messenger. It's the Day of Judgment, which means what? That's where all your performance in this dunya, all what you have will be doing, and all what you'll be saying, and all what you will not gonna be doing, and what you will not be saying, that is where the evaluation and the report card will be given. This is the Day of Judgment, or this is the so-called al-yawm, the day, al-akhir, mean the final, or the second, or the late one. The hadith starts like this: whoever believes in Allah and this Day of Judgment, he said, فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ. Either he says something that is good, or be quiet. Then, what is the definition of khayr? Khayr, anything that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anything that Allah approves and our deen acknowledge as it is good, then that is khayr. Other than this, it is rejected, and you need to, like say Imam Shafi'i said something very important. He said that each one of us, if he pauses before saying anything, just before you say anything, think first, why am I going to say this, and where is going to lead? Because we have something called kalam mubah, allowed, things that you can say, right? And kalam mustahab, it is you have to say. And kalam haram, bad, which is, we know what haram means. And kalam, something that's makruh, right? All this range covers anything we say will fall into this. Halal, haram, mustahab, makruh. Halal means allowed, lawful. Haram is forbidden. Mustahab means Allah likes this, and makruh, Allah hates this. And in between, certain things neutral. It doesn't go whatever you want to say. It doesn't mean it doesn't go here or there. But you know what? The Sahaba used to, anything that they're going to say that is not going to be going towards something good, they will even leave it and don't drop the subject. Why? Because they're scared it might lead to something that Allah hates. So this kind of, what you call it, categories of speech, each one of them, you need to say, before you say anything, pause and say, like, where this is gonna, what is meant, where is it gonna go, how is it gonna be perceived, right? Because sometimes you might say something that a person listening to you might think, what does he mean with this? I think he means me. How many times, like I remember so many times I give a khatira in the masjid in Fasik, and someone comes to you and says, like, I think you meant me. Wallahi, I think you meant me, right? And of course I did not mean him. It's just he's discussing the Prophet's hadith. And if there's brothers are fighting now, and someone is, the hadith will apply to him, he will say, did the other guy tell you to speak about this and whatever it is? This is that's why you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful of anything that you say. So, فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ. Sayyidah Aisha one day, she was saying to Prophet Muhammad, Ya Rasulullah, they were talking, husband and wife. And she said that this lady, the short one, the Prophet got very upset. Very upset. And he said, look, you have said a word that if it's going to be thrown in the ocean, it will make the water filthy. Ya Rasulullah, but she's short. He said, does she like to hear this? She said, no. He said, no. She said, that's what it is, right? Of course, we are banned from backbiting. We are banned from going to the Imam and get his words, and like go to the brother, say like the Imam said so about you. We are banned. This is haram now. Or saying something bad about any brother or anything, right? We are banned from this. But sometimes the problem is things that we think is not banned, right? And we assume that keep going, no problem. You have no problem with it. Yani, so many, especially the sisters, maybe more than the brothers. The sisters talk a lot with each other. Huh? Upstairs? Okay, I'll be careful. The chat about, look at the way she's dressed. Look at the color of her scarf. Look at the color, this kind of thing. Why do you want to get into this? Do you know what the Quran says? ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. ما يلفظ, anything that your tongue moves and comes out of your lips. Raqib means someone who is watching, someone who is documenting. Atid, just formidable. Any word that you say, it just registered. And as soon as it leaves your mouth, it is out of your control. It's already in your book, and the Prophet said like, لا يلقي لها بالا. You say something that you don't even pay attention to it. تهوي به في النار 70 خريفا. Takes him 70 years down into hell, right? She's traveling 70 years in hell. So, and you say like, well, what did I say? Yeah? And you say like, I don't even think I said that. The Quran said like, أحصاه الله ونسوه. Allah has already put all the stuff in your record, right? And you forgot all about it. You said like, I don't remember saying this. Yes, you don't remember, but it's already documented. It's already in your record. So, if you ask me, one guy went to Prophet Muhammad, said, Ya Rasulullah, I want you to tell me about something that will put me in Jannah. Just one thing. He's not asking for a big lecture. He said, Ya Rasulullah, dullani ala amalin, guide me to something that will put me in Jannah. You know what the Prophet told him? Amsik alayka hada, and he pointed to his tongue. Hold this tongue. Don't just let it keep vibrating. Just hold it, right? Amsik alayka hada, in other words, just be quiet, right? And they say, the scholars say that Sayyidina Ali, Imam Ali, radiallahu anhu, one was asking him, yeah, Imam, you didn't say so and so, you were supposed to say so and so. He said, when I say, it's too late to take it back, right? And it's documented against me. But when I'm quiet, it's in my scale, and I'm fine, right? I didn't do any damage, right? So, we listen a lot, we speak a lot, right? And we do not know so-called ma'al, where this word is going to lead to. I know that some of us, when they're angry, they say things that will leave a scar. Yani, we were sitting one day with a brother and his wife, they have dispute, right? And the wife was telling us, no, I cannot go back to him. He said, Wallahi, I did not mean what I said. He's swearing. But what she came in her mind, that it's too late. It came out, and whatever comes out when you're angry, it is there. It doesn't mean it is existing in your heart. Right? So I'm sorry, I don't want to go back to him. I don't want to be his wife again, right? And so many things, you just hint while you're angry and you say it, and you leave a scar. Maybe that your wife said, okay, I'll stay with him because I have children or whatever it is. But you know what? There's a scar inside her heart. It doesn't go away. So many brothers, and wallahi, I notice this as a phenomenon, that so many brothers, when they're angry, they say something to the wife that it is very hard to erase. It's just stuck. And the same thing with the wife when she's angry. Yani, there's just one sister in front. I was sitting with her, and she kept saying, divorce me, divorce me, divorce me. Until he said, okay, you divorced, right? And then she said, I didn't mean it. Well, but you don't play with this, right? Don't just allow yourself when you're angry to just blizzard and think anything that you do not mean, right? The scholars say there's 4 hadith that all the good manners in Islam are circulating around them. 4 hadith in our deen, 4 hadith in our deen that all the good manners of our deen is around them. All of them. Every good character is stemming from this 4 hadith. The first one is, which I just mentioned, من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Either you say something good or be quiet. This is one. If you really believe in Allah and the Day of Judgment. The second one is, this guy went to Prophet Muhammad, said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to go to tell me about something that will put me in Jannah. He told him, لا تغضب, don't get angry. So the guy came to the Prophet from the other side and he said, Ya Rasulullah, now, Ya Rasulullah, just tell me something that huh? The guy felt, it's not, I need something big. What do you mean, don't get angry, right? He came from the other side. He said, Ya Rasulullah, just give me something that will guarantee me to go to Jannah. He said, La taghdab, right? 3 times he said that. Why? Because the Prophet had this kind of ability to look at your face and know what's your problem and know what will cause you to do mistakes. So he realized as a doctor, look at the person, he said, the thing that will take you away from Jannah will be when you get angry. So calm down. This is one. The third hadith, من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ماذا يعني. A sign that you are a good Muslim is when you don't get your nose in things that doesn't concern you. Each one of us has a record, right? Each one of us has a record. And this record is what you're going to see in the Day of Judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, like, اقرأ كتابك, read your record, right? Why do we focus on somebody else's record instead of my own? Every one of us is worried about Brother Ahmed Hukasha, مش عارف. Yeah, leave Brother Ahmed Hukasha, focus on yourself, right? Each one of us, we focus on others. He did, she said, he did, she said. All this is absolutely not our record. Leave him to Allah, leave her to Allah. Focus on your own record, right? And the fourth hadith that deals with this is والله لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. Wallah, you are not a full believer, a perfect believer, until you love for your brother what you love for yourself, right? This hadith is not my subject, but my subject is, I go to the hadith number 1, which is whoever believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment, فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ. This is the first part of it, to say something good or be quiet. The second part of it, again, whoever believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment, فَلْيُكْرِمْ جَارَهُ, has to be generous to his neighbor. And this requires some thinking. The neighbor in our deen has a very, very special status. The neighbor has a very, very special status. And the Prophet said that since the angel Jibreel, he used to come to me about, remind me how to be good to my neighbor. He kept coming, until I thought he's going to end up giving him inheritance when I die. I thought like that's what he's going to end up with, everything, the jar, the neighbor, right? And there's no deen that puts so much emphasis on the relationship between neighbors like our deen. It's just like, whoever believes in Allah, if you really believe in Allah, and the Day of Judgment, where you whatever, then فَلْيُكْرِمْ جَارَهُ, be very generous to your neighbor, right? And this is something that need to be addressed, right? In our deen, the Quran says this. He says, طعام أهل الكتاب حل لكم وطعامكم حل لهم. Your food is halal for the people of the book, Christian and Jews, and their food is halal for you. Now, think of this. Their food halal for me, fine, this is from Allah. But my food halal for them, it's not our business. We don't make halal and haram for the non-Muslims, right? They make halal and haram for themselves, right? We don't say, you cannot eat pork, and it's none of your business, right? So why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, their food is halal for you, and your food is halal for them? Think of it. You know what? Because food in our deen is something that ties the hearts together. Each one of us, after September 11, realized what it meant to be a good neighbor. Like, I remember September 11, all the neighbors came to knock on the door, and they said, if anyone will ever bother you, we'll be here to take care of the house. Don't worry about it, right? We were very good with the neighbors. I used to be a perfumer. I designed perfume. So I get samples in Christmas time. Like I get, like, say, 50 men's cologne and 50 whatever I want, I get, because the senior staff get whatever they want. And I give all the neighbors, men and women, perfume. You do not know how effective this little thing to their hearts. And our beloved Prophet said something that is very unique. You know the soup? Everybody knows soup, right? He said, if you make soup, right, just go take a plate to your neighbors. Of course, you might say, what's the big deal about soup? Try it. Try it if you make a barbecue in your backyard and the smells goes out, take a small amount and go give it to the neighbor and say, like, please accept this, and if you want to put something like da'wah issue, say, like, it's part of our deen, we have to be very kind to the neighbors and this kind of thing. So this is part of our deen, I have to give this and that. My neighbor is not Muslim, and they were barbecuing in the backyard, and I was, taking care of my garden, and the guy came to me with a big plate with, chicken, kebab, and all this stuff, right? Wallahi, it did touch my heart, even though I was supposed to be the one who was doing this and giving them. So I give it a tour. This when the Prophet said فَلْيُكْرِمْ جَارَهُ, right? Ikram is not only giving food, right? The companion would say, Ya Rasulullah, there's a lady that she prays tahajjud every night. She stays up all night making tahajjud. And she fasts so many optional days. And she's just like, but you know what? Her tongue, she hurts the neighbors. You know what the Prophet said? Hiya fi nar. She is in hell. Making tahajjud every night, fasting Monday and Thursday, doing everything option. But Wallahi, I need to put a few lines under this. But with her tongue, she hurts her neighbors. The Prophet's answer is, Hiya fi nar. She is in hell. And another time, people, Ya Rasulullah, this lady, she just prays a 5-time prayer, no sunnah, just 5 times prayer. And she just fasts Ramadan, and she pays her charity thing. But all the neighbor loves her. She's so sweet with everybody. You know what the Prophet said? Hiya fil Jannah. She is in paradise, right? Then obviously the neighbors in our deen is a big issue, right? So why it's a big issue? Think of the Muslim society as this is the way our Allah wants us to be as a Muslim society, as one big unit. شوف مثل المؤمنين في تودهم كمثل الجسد الواحد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر بالسهر والحمى. The Muslim Ummah or the Muslim community like one big body. If part of it is aching, the whole body responds with fever and ache, right? This is the Muslim Ummah, and this is the Muslim society, and this is the Muslim city, and this is the Muslim masjid or the Muslim neighborhood. This is our deen, right? If you say, like, I scratched my finger, right? that the whole body has to respond? Yes, this is our deen. Do we measure to this? Are we thinking, where do we stand from this as a Muslim community? Do we think that we are up to this level? No, we need to reconsider, brothers and sisters. We need to reconsider this, the neighbor type. Why, Rabbi, the neighbor is a big deal? If we're going to be a very good community, right, I have to love my neighbor very much. And he has to feel secure, has to feel very secure when I'm next to him. If he goes away, his children, his wife, his driveway, his مش عارف ايه, I'll take care of shoveling the snow, مش عارف ايه, he doesn't have to worry. Why? Because he left his brother behind. You know what is one of the major sins in our deen? Is when you look in a haram way to your neighbor's wife. That's the worst thing that anybody can do, all right? This is a Muslim society saying that, okay, yeah, we want you to be a big unit. You want to be a big unit? You want to feel like one body, that you ache for you, whoever it is? You know how to do it? Just start with your neighbor. He has to be very secure. ليس منا من لم يأمن جاره بوائقه. يعني is not one of us, then his neighbor is not secure next to him. He is not one of us. You know what, brother and sister, what that means? This is not a lesson. This is not someone giving speeches. This is reality. Our deen says you are not one of us if your neighbor does not feel secure with you next to him. Hasan al-Zan, with the neighbor. You all the time don't start reading in his behavior and say like, oh, he did this because so and so and so, I don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. That is not our deen. Of ihsan al-dhan means thinking the best all the time, right? If he is going through hardship, our deen says you do not need to wait until he comes and say like, I'm going through difficulty. Why? If you're really a good Muslim neighbor, then you feel that my brother is suffering or my sister is suffering. You feel it. And you don't wait for him to come and say, I have a problem, I need this instead. No, my brother, are you okay? I feel like you're suffering. You're not smiling, I feel, or whatever it is. Or my sister, you're depressed, whatever it is. Are you right? This is our deen, right? Of course, you're not going to be kafir if you're not good with the neighbors, but your iman is far away from perfect. Your iman needs a major tune-up. And the third part, the same hadith has three sections. Section 1 starts with Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawm al-akhir. If you believe in Allah and the Day of Judgment. And we said why the hadith mentioned Allah and Day of Judgment. Whenever he said Day of Judgment, means accountability for your record. Because you might come in the Day of Judgment with huge amount of hasanat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, bring this person. Why Rabbi? Because he heard this, he backbided this, he did this kind of thing. They take from the other person's sayyat and put yours, and take from your hasanat, the good deeds, and put to him. Then you find yourself coming with a huge amount of good deeds, and the outcome is what? 0. Or you get piles of bad deeds in your scale. Why? Because if your hasanat are not enough and your bad deeds are a lot, then and what you have hurt others is a lot, then you find yourself bankrupt. And you think, alhamdulillah, I made so many hajj and umrah, I contributed to the masajid, I did this, I prayed 5 times a day, and like this woman that the Prophet said, "Hiya fi nar," she's in hell. Why? Because of this. Then the third part of the hadith is, وَمَنْ كَانَ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ فَلْيُكْرِمْ ضَيْفَهُ. To be generous to his guest. What is a daif? Guest, you have two kind of guests. Someone that, see, the interpretation of the hadith overseas, I'm saying, in the good old days, they have a definition of الضيف, the one from another town. But in our situation, because we have hotels, we have مش عارف ايه, we have this kind of thing, so we have different dynamics now. But in the meantime, the hadith still applies to what? Someone that's coming to spend a couple of hours with you. He's a guest, right? Someone that guest in the town, and he is a very important sheikh someplace else, and he's in the town, and you want to show him how much we welcome you and respecting you, right? This kind of feeling, again, this is Allah's Muslim Ummah, right? Allah cares so much about the building block, which is the family, and the bigger family, which is a community. If we do not put enough efforts to make sure that a guest coming to our town or to our house or to our neighborhood feel like I'm among my Muslim brothers and sisters, then our society is weak, loose. How many times you go certain area and they welcome you and his food, dinner, wallahi, you have to, I remember before Egypt was taken over by the military force in 1952, anyone walking in the town, everybody wants to come in, drink chai with us, have some cookies, it was just a phenomenon. And everybody's welcome everybody else, right? Now after the military took over and the problem started arising, people that, I went to visit one of my family, and I found he's not talking to this, he's not talking to this, he's not talking to anybody, and nobody's talking to him either, right? And the ties are being broken. So I tried to dig deep to find out what's behind this. Wallah, it was this. There's not that much money to invite anybody even for tea. Not even to welcome him at home, just for, people are scared if my aunt comes from the other town and have dinner with us, you know what dinner means? I have to buy 1 kilo of meat or 1 kilo of مش عارف بتاع. I don't have a budget for this. Then the ties are being broken, right? This is what the enemies of Allah are planning for this Muslim community to become what? To become loose tie. There is no connection, right? And that is not the way Allah designed our deen, right? And as soon as every time I go to visit my family in Egypt, is he a board member? Yeah? When I go and I hear this statement which hurts me, the statement is, Wallahi, we haven't seen each other since you were here last year. My family, I'm talking about my family, we haven't got together since last year. And when you dig deep, nobody's inviting anybody. But do you have to have a big feast? No. You just sit down and have just little tea or something and chat with each other. Ask him how's your kids, how's your children, how's traffic, little things like this. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be. And you know what? Smile. The Prophet said, "At-tabassum fi wajhi," smiling at your brothers and sisters' face is sadaqah. You're rewarded for it. You don't have to be millionaire to be generous to the community, right? And anytime we start breaking these ties of come to my house, I'll come to your house, whatever it is, then the whole community becomes loose. And I want to close with this. I just want to say, each one of us has to say, during September 11 and what happened after this, what was the positive things and what was the negative things? The positive things was we found out that those brothers and sisters and families that have good relationship with their neighbors, they spoke pretty good in the news, in the media, and they were just like this, don't worry, we are one family. And those who just secluded himself from all neighborhood, they just give bad image about who we are. So we need to reconsider our neighbors. How many kinds of neighbors do we have? Each neighbor has a different kind of rights. You have average neighbor, and you have a Muslim neighbor, and you have Muslim neighbor that is I'm sorry, that's relative. Yeah, if you have a relative, a cousin or uncle or brother, that he's your neighbor, he's Muslim, his neighbor, he is a relative, he has 3 rights. The just average neighbor, he has rights.